Welcome to the Archotechs, a RimWorld fluid ideology series about pursuing the Archonexus. Episode 41, the first Archonexus. To briefly recap last episode, we managed to take out some of the mech clusters that was likely chasing Chelsea and Ferry, this one getting destroyed much because it was full of unstable power cells. We also had this mech cluster land in the north, which I haven't bothered to deal with yet, and probably won't. We're also given the opportunity to defend this downed shuttle. Well, the shuttle used to be here, and they are going to be taking off in about 1 hour. The focus of this episode is going to be the Archonexus. So if you're wondering, yes, I will have a tutorial accompanying this episode about the Archonexus. So if you want to learn more about it, just look up that tutorial. It can be found as a link in the description of this video or just on my channel. But I'll be talking about the Archonexus and all of the requirements in a fair bit of detail in this episode anyway. So we hit the requirement for the Archonexus now. We have the 350,000 that we earned an alliance with Westhinia, but I have some loose ends to tie up first. So chief amongst them is to try to get some better armor for the trip. One of the things about the Archonexus is you keep the clothes on your back for free. So the best clothes that you can get, the better suited you are for the Archonexus. And then another thing is we're going to have a lot of mood problems as we travel on the Archonexus, so it's going to be very important for us to address that early on. And by that, I mean to have some wonderful rituals before we go. So just so that all of you know, it was put to vote about what kind of rituals we're going to have. When you do the Archonexus, it allows you to adopt a new ideology, or you can keep your current one. And what I want to do is I want to develop the ideology now. And there we go. These guys have left, and Trustin's Baron ceremony is ready to go. So let's go ahead and accept. Ferry, I need you to not be so moody. So I'm going to have Ferry go eat a lavish meal, and everybody else is going to go convene in the throne room. The reason I wanted to accept the Baron ceremony now is I have the opportunity to get some extra bonus honor. I know she's upset. She's currently eating a lavish meal. She'll be fine. So for each ceremony that you have when you go up a rank, you have the opportunity to gain bonus honor by assembling sort of witnesses to the ceremony. So if I waited for Chelsea and Ferry's quest to be done in 6 hours, I would only have one ceremony. It'd be going from Praetor to Count. In this way, I have 2 ceremonies and I can get some extra honor from it. So that is a nice little benefit. So let's begin the bestowing ceremony. And let's hope I get a good psycast and that the result of this ceremony is positive. So one thing I wanted to do is to make sure not to piss off this mech cluster. Because we're evil, I plan on sort of selling this mech cluster to the next occupant, or rather to Westhinia. So I actually want to keep them here. I know that sounds strange, but it's the meanest thing I could do to Westhinia is to give them a cursed colony. So it works in my favor to leave it cursed. But I'm going to avoid the area so that we don't go over there and get hurt or wake them up or anything like that. Alright, it was unimpressive, which is unfortunate, but we did gain the Baron title, and this Baron title gives us Far Skip. Wow, we have 2 Far Skippers now. That is terrific. And then the other thing that I wanted Trustin to do is to fabricate the Locust Armors. So I'm going to have Zaleb wear this Locust Armor that I've already made, and Trustin will work to fabricate another one for No Luck. So, surprise, surprise, the Archonexus, or rather The people that I'm keeping are the colonists and not the slaves. Probably a surprise to no one. But that is what was voted on. Okay, unfortunately this is just excellent. Could have been better. And then this shuttle is for Chelsea and Ferry. And this will yield enough honor for Trustin to then become a count. Farewell. And now I have a count ceremony looming. But let's let him sleep. I'm not going to worry about the undignified bedroom. The reason being, we're about to do the Archonexus, and the bedrooms, of course, are going to become undignified very, very quickly. So another thing I wanted to do is to reform the ideology. To add in the rituals that you all voted on. So let's do that now. I'm going to change my style from Spikecore to Techist, as pursuing the Archonexus makes me feel like we're becoming Techist. So I think that makes sense. As far as rituals go, this is what is getting changed. So the Burning Alliance is staying, but the Sky Lanterns, the Social Festival, and the Animal Sacrifice are all changing. We're going to be adding in a prisoner sacrifice instead. And this prisoner sacrifice is going to benefit us with Psi Focus. And I'm going to call this the Archo Offering. The next one is a dance party. Yes, I'm surprised too. That is what was voted on. So we're going to call this the Archo Festival. And the benefit of this is a random recruit. And then last but not least, a gladiator duel. Probably a surprise to nobody. And we'll go ahead and name this the Archo Games. And the benefit is discover an ancient complex. I'm not going to be changing really anything else about our ideology, just some rituals. But all of these were voted on, and there we go. Nice and developed. So once Trustin's up, I'm going to be triggering the count ceremony. And let's take a look at his permits. His permits, I'm going to accept Silver Drop. And you're up, so let's go ahead and trigger the count ceremony. So now we will have everybody will be a count. Well, the trio at least. Wow, they parked kind of far away. And for assembling all the guests, I'll get some bonus honor as a result, which is going to help me call in extra favors, I think. And it was honorable. Great. The sidecast we got is Skip Shield. I get another permit. And this permit, I'm going to say the Glitter Med drop. And then if we take a look at our needs, ate a lavish meal, receive count title, etc., etc. Very, very, very positive. The last thing I wanted to do is to have a little gladiator duel before we leave. So I am going to maybe put the longsword and the gladius in here. Because our slaves aren't coming with us. So I might as well have a little fun with them before we travel off. All right. Let's begin the Arco games. The duelists will be Slave 1 and Slave 2. Oh, where's Slave 2? Yeah, Slave 1 and Slave 2 will duel. A gladiator duel that has weapons is more likely to be positive, as you can see. And then if one of them dies, it's very positive. So let's kick this off. Good luck, Slave 1 and Slave 2. A little gladiator duel, potentially to the death, to celebrate the Archonexus here. Slave, ooh. Yeah, they're going on it. Oh, almost cut his arm off. Oh, what was that hit? Oh, leg. Slave 1 doing way better than Slave 2. Slave 1 coming away with very little wounds so far. Oh, and Slave 1 wins. Slave 2 lost a toe, almost lost the entire foot and leg, and we have a victor. Please tell me this was good. Boring? Oh, come on. Oh, well. I tried. All right, let's patch these two dummies up. I'm going to be tending to them with no meds. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Actually, you know what? I don't care. They can bleed out. I really don't care. So let's accept the quest for the paid toxic fallout, accepting for a tech prof persona core. And no luck, you're going to travel down to the orbital trade beacon so that you can learn the shooting trainer. So now our trio is 17, 18, 17. No luck at 17. Zleb is 18. Everybody has incredibly high levels of skill. So I've not only given Westinia a mech cluster here, but I've also had a paid toxic fallout, which will linger for 15 days. I've basically cursed this map tile as much as I could. And with that, it's time to leave. So let me talk briefly about the Archonexus. Keeping in mind that, of course, I will have an associated tutorial if you want more details. You can pick up to 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't pick 6. It will warn you down here. You can pick up to 5 animals, of which we only have 4. 1 relic, the relic of suppression, and then 7 items. Now, items are a little strange because depending on the scenario that you have, and let me remind you just for a moment, depending on the scenario that you have, you'll get some of this when you pursue the Archonexus. You'll get, I'm going to get some free package survival meals and Glitter World medicine as a result. So I don't really need to worry about bringing that stuff with me. So instead, I'm going to bring the orbital beam targeter. I'm going to bring some weapons with me. We will do 1, 2, 3 heavy SMGs. Sven will wield the Relic of Suppression, and then one of my shooters will wield the charge rifle that I'm going to get as a result of the Rich Explorer start. So that is 4 of the 7 items I'm allowed to bring. Then we're also going to bring the Tech Prof Persona Core and the Heal Mech Serum, leaving me 1 extra item to pick. And I think I'll bring the advanced components to sort of jumpstart my technology once I travel. So once you accept this, the hibernating starship that you can travel to with the caravan to take off from the planet takes off and is no longer an option for you to win. Just because you do the first stage of the Archonexus doesn't mean you can't pursue other ways to win the game. It just means that this one way gets canceled. Your colony was sold. Its purchasers are ready for you to choose where to land next. So you can pick anywhere on the map. So what happens is this colony, the Desert Temple, gets sold to Westinia, and it kind of ceases to exist. You can trade with it, but it's not really a colony anymore. It's just it's like any other settlement. And then anywhere on the world here, we can travel to. So if you're wondering, I polled, and The changes to the rituals were all voted on. The people that are coming with us on the Archonexus was voted on. And then also the biome was voted on. And it was chosen that I settle a tropical rainforest. So I thought it might be interesting to settle on a tiny little island with very little ability to trade with the Shattered Empire, just as an additional challenge. So I'm going to do just that. Now, once you pick your tile, you can totally change your ideology here. So the reason I developed my ideology before I did this is I could create a new ideology or create a new fluid ideology or completely change my ideology to something that already exists. So the Archonexus allows you to radically upturn everything about your own society, but I'm choosing, of course, not to do that. And then it's going to generate the map, and the map is going to be generated with a very special structure in the middle of the map, which relates to the Archonexus. With the first Archonexus map part securely recorded, you prepare for the next step of your journey. Sammy told you of the cataclysm that destroyed this world. Humans built a great thinking machine here centuries ago. It turned against the people, and there was a great war. Only a few were left when the machine transcended and fell dormant. The map to the Archonexus has 3 parts, and you hold one of them. Pact of Waslonium and Barrio people also each hold parts of the map. They'll trade their parts to you for a wealthy colony and all of its recorded research. The first part is encoded in a very strange way. In order to interpret it, you must first learn more about archotechnology by studying the structure here. It's time to get building. So the Archonexus win is doing exactly what I just did, basically 3 times. So here is map part 2, where I need to have studied the major architect structure and an alliance with the Pact of Waslonium and a colony worth at least 350,000. Here is the architect structure. It is a intellectual study, kind of like a hack, and this is my map tile. So we have a northern beach. We have one very obvious ancient danger. And that's about all that is remarkable about this map tile, or at least for now. In the middle, we have the major architect structure. Things to note about this structure: it's not possible to grow anything near it, so don't farm or ranch anywhere near this structure, because this structure generates anima grass, much like an anima tree, and it will kill off anything you sow. So you can kind of tell that there's a circle here, right? Like a circle of anima grass, and basically growing inside of the circle, and I believe it's like a radius of 35 or something like that. I don't have it memorized, but it's basically impossible to grow anywhere inside of there. So don't. Obviously, some of the challenges we're going to have is the throne room requirement and the bedroom requirement, and these requirements start in 10 days, which is an incredibly short period of time to get that up and running. Like, incredibly short. So when we land, what ends up happening is we get the pack of survival meals, the Glitter World medicine, and this is from the Rich Explorer start. And then we get the items that we asked for. So here's the Relic of Suppression. And then the SMGs. Of course, we have our pets that we brought. And then we have the advanced components, the Heal Make Serum, the Tech Prof Persona Core. And what I'm going to need to do is to sort of plan out exactly how our colony will be built. So what I want to do is to sort of do some planning. If we take a look at the terrain affordance overlay, you can see I don't want to build too close to this structure here, because this structure is going to get in the way. It's you can't destroy it, you can't move it or anything like that. In fact, you could even abandon your colony and then settle back here, and it will still be there. It's one of the immutable properties of the Archonexus. So instead, what I want to do is I want to design in a way that I have my throne room and the ritual room, and then also the meditation room, all sort of in a line like this. We have rich soil this way. So what would make sense is that we would have sort of a kitchen down here, keeping in mind that this is a low terrain affordance, so it can support wood, but it cannot support stone. So I think what I'll do is nudge all of this up a bit. So we do have a geyser there to keep in mind. So we'll go with a 9x11, 9x11, and 9x11. So these are our three main rooms: throne, ritual, meditation. The meditation room can actually be smaller, so I'm going to shrink the meditation room down a little bit. So we have like a throne and ritual and meditation in the middle. Then I want a kitchen, or dining room rather. So this is another 9x11. And then this will be, The something else to note is I might want hallways around this. So I think what's probably best, and this will take me a minute, is to draw out exactly how it's going to be laid out. So instead of 9x11, I think we'll do 13x11 and then hollow it out like that. So I can actually see what the rooms look like. And then we'll do the hallways in between. That way you can see sort of the structure and layout of the rooms itself, and how there's hallways that will interconnect it. So that is my dining room, rec room. And this is a lot easier to visualize, I think. Then we'll have a kitchen. And then we'll need bedrooms. For now, I'm not going to worry too much about Zaleb and Noluk's bedroom. They're just going to have to absorb sort of leftover space here. So this should be 8x7. Got it. All right, so dining room, rec room, meditation room, a ritual room, a throne room, 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, and last but not least, the crafting room, which is a little tricky to do because so this crafting room will have a lot of space for storage. And then we'll want some sort of storage room as well. I think what I'll do is plan out the storage to be in this section here. Because I'm not too worried about the terrain affordance of this spot. But of course, this storage room is going to be probably the last to be built because we'll need orbital trade beacons and the like. And then that has a nice hallway structure to move around. And then eventually I'm going to have a perimeter wall. So I think first and foremost, let's go ahead and start to work on the inner rec room, dining room, which will serve as a temporary shelter for all of us. So I'm going to create a 9x9 here for us to store stuff. Another thing that I'm going to do is to put down a caravan pack spot, or hitching spot rather, so that I can hitch the horses so the horses don't leave. Now, I'm not going to call in the labor squad just yet. This is a aid that I have, the labor team. The reason I'm not doing it is I don't really have the capacity to house them, and what would end up happening is they would just all pretty inevitably have mental breakdowns if I called them in right now. So it's best if I wait. So Trustin, what I want you to do is start breaking down some of the old structures here. And No Luck can join you. I think what's going to be really important is that we start to make a whole lot of woodcutter tables. So let's order a cut of all plants. And then Bunny and Sven, you're going to get tree cutting. Another thing that I want Sven to do is I'm going to queue up research for microelectronics. And then he's going to use the Tech Prof Persona Core that we got from the paid Fallout shelter, or paid Toxic Fallout rather, and immediately unlock microelectronics. So now I can go from the traditional research bench straight to a high-tech research bench. And one thing that I hadn't laid out in this is a hospital. I just realized, so... There we go. Maybe... Can I nestle it here? Not really. There's not a lot of room to work with. Yeah, 7x9, that'll be big enough. Hospital. So we'll start hauling over the items and cutting the high-yield trees to try to get wood. The other thing I want Trustin to do is to call in aid for food, silver, and Glitter World meds. Because these are all on cooldowns, and I might as well start immediately triggering them so that I can get them again on cooldown. Because initially we're really going to have the ability to feed ourselves very effectively. So here comes all the horses, and the foal will be raffled off. I should have done that already, but raffled off next episode. All right, next up, I'm going to carry Glitter World meds on everybody. Even though not everyone can do medicine, I don't want the Glitter World meds to just lay there on the ground. Doesn't really make any sense. And I think for raw resources, I'll start to put them here. So that would be this stuff. Got it. Now, Bunny is going to need to start mining compacted machinery if we want a high-tech research bench anytime soon, because I think jump starting on the research is going to be very, very important. So, Trustin, you are idle. And one of the things I could do, so the native terrain here, the native stones, is limestone and granite. So I'm going to have him... Let's grab this marble table for ourselves. Break down the limestone table and break down these steles for material. I can also bust down some of this stuff as well, but its yield is mostly just steel. So I'm just going to headhunt this steel because I don't really care about the non-native stones. So as Bunny is cutting down trees, that's going to unlock the ability for us to build a stone cutter. Because I don't want to build anything out of wood. I want to skip totally over wood, which is going to be a little challenging. But I'm going to skip totally over wood and go straight to stone. So the stone cutter needs steel and wood, and Bonnie is going to get some steel in a minute. Once that last tree gets felled, we'll get steel mining over there, which is going to be a higher priority for her. So the other cutter is Sven, but he is praying over nowhere. So I'm going to set up some meditation spots here that we'll use later on, or we'll use immediately, because I don't want my trio wandering away really, really far to start praying. In fact, I might even let the psi focus sort of lapse a bit, because we have bigger and better things to do. More important, more urgent things, obviously. And yes, I know there's an ancient danger. Oh, that is not what I wanted you to do. Not really sure who to work drive. But here we go. Here is our Carter table. Now, one of the nice things that we're going to have the ability to do is because of pain is virtue, we have rough living, which means I'm not going to immediately be penalized for sleeping outdoors or anything like that. It gives me a nice sort of cushion, I guess. And I'm going to have Sven, actually, don't do that. Just cut these trees. I'm going to have No Luck focus on the stone cutting. And Sven, work drive No Luck. We're going to want a lot of stone. So when we cut the stone, drop it on the floor. We don't need to haul it anywhere. And there we go. That is the layout of the room that we need to cut and clean and trim. I'm going to have Sven focus on the trees that have yields here so that I can get more wood. And Zleb is still hauling things in. Bunny has got enough components for the high-tech research, which will be laid out here. And this can serve as a barracks initially. So this is a good structure to build at the start. And it looks like we're already starting to fall asleep. I'll have to keep an eye on the horses. I don't have an idea for where the pen's going to be, but I do have an idea where the farm's going to be. So as time goes on, you'll see that this Archotech structure will start to kill off sort of the crops in this circle here. So some of this area is not going to be farmable. Ooh, Bunny got an inspired trade. But as you can see, our moods are starting to dip. So one thing that I could help out with the mood is just to get a horseshoe pin. And then also get like a chess table up and running pretty early on as well. But the horseshoe pin's going to at least be something for us to recreate at. Another thing I could do is the solar pinhole, so that we don't even need electrical light just yet. Just use psi casting. And then I do plan on calling in the labor squad once I feel like I have at least a little set up for them to do, because right now there's not much for them to do and I can't house them. So like I said, for them to all have mental breaks, they're going to cause more problems than they'll solve. So that's one of the reasons why I am not labor squatting right now. So Sven is just about done getting rid of all the trees here, and then we'll work on the research hospital area next. And then after that, we'll start to do the bedrooms so that I can at least have dignified bedrooms sooner than later. I don't have cloth, but that's something that we'll be able to start farming for pretty early on. So Trustin, you are idle. Let's go ahead and get some beds out of you. Trying to make sure that nobody stays idle very long because there's just a lot of work to be done. And I'm going to aim for masterwork beds, or better. If I can get legendary, that'd be great. Oh, there we go, legendary. So that will be yours and Zleb's. And obviously this is not where they're going to be sleeping long term. All right, this could be Sven's. Bunnies. And no Lux. So now everybody has a bedroom. Trustin is idle yet again. I'm going to have him start to remove some of the structures out here for more material. And then we can also do things like setting up tool cabinets, which will help to speed up the stone cutting. And I could even get a second stone cutter if I think it's necessary. Get back to work. So the plan is to put a high-tech research bench in here, and then the rest of this will be part of the hospital. So that is something good for Trustin to work on. Because one of the things to realize is my research is totally reset to 0 as a result of the Archonexus quest. That's just how they work. I'm going to get yet another stone cutter going so that when Trustin's idle, he can just cut stone. So let's go ahead and copy this bill, paste it in here, and that will keep us busy. And this is almost fully enclosed. And once it's roofed off, there won't be, you know, any deterioration of our components or anything like that. Okay, so we have the tool benches, which speeds up, and now it will be enclosed. Oh, gross. There's a tree that grew here while we built. All right, there we go. So now the stone cutter table is all set. Sven, your job now is to continue cutting where the bedrooms are going to be. So all of these separated buildings will eventually be interconnected by a network of hallways. And then once the hallways are done, I can break in some of these doors here to have the recreation and dining room actually be the entire hallway system, just like I did last colony. Let me shrink this down so we use just the eastern half of it. Because, yeah, we are in the tropical rainforest, which means the trees grow back rather aggressively. So as soon as I cut them down, they just spring back and get in the way. There we go. That's a good task for you to do. Bunny, do you have... No, you don't. I was going to cast solar pinhole, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. Do you have chunk skip? Does anyone have chunk skip? No, I don't think anyone has chunk skip. So no luck. Very, very hungry. Oh, let me fix that. Everybody is going to be actually on everything food, so that we don't starve them out. I hadn't realized that they weren't eating. Alright, our recreation variety is obviously not enough, given that we only have a wooden horseshoe pin, so that's another task to manage. But here comes the high-tech research bench. That will be done pretty soon. The other thing is we don't really have a source of power yet. Obviously, because we're in the jungle, we're in the rainforest, the wood fire generators probably are fine. Taking a look at the temperatures that we'll expect here, because I'm sure this is growing year-round, and it gets pretty hot. So I don't think we're going to need a lot of heaters, but we will need air conditioners. And some of the mood penalties are starting to wear off, which is good. So that we could get the research going, I'm just going to get a wood fire generator up and going now. And then run power from it to the center here. Cutting the plants that are in the way. Trustin is tiling up the center dining room to try to make it a little bit nicer so that we can get a mood bonus out of it, which is going to be important. And then I don't have auto home zoning right now, so everything I'm going to have to manually add to home zone, which is totally fine. I'm okay doing this, but I'd rather do it that way. Ooh, you were flirting. Don't flirt with Celeb. Flirt with no luck if you're going to flirt with anyone. Alright, Zleb, let's get... Oh, you can't craft. So all you can do is haul and clean and hunt and animal handle. How are these... These horses are grazing on something because they're not hungry, so I'm not going to worry about them. Now the requirements for our bedrooms to be fine floored is going to be pretty expensive. It's very difficult to get fine floors early on because it's just so resource intensive. Another thing, because we have pain is virtue, we don't really care about chairs. Comfort doesn't matter to anyone. We don't have a comfort requirement, so I don't need to worry about adding chairs for the high-tech research bench or the cutters or really anywhere. Chairs aren't necessary. So this is going to be one of the bedrooms. And then I have to sort of decide where the doors are going to go. I think there is fine. And we have a research room now. So what do we get first? Let's think about this. Smithing is kind of an obvious one, because that leads to all of the defenses that we're going to need. So I'm going to go with smithing. As much as I would like the niceties of psychoid tea or beer or something like that, security comes before comfort. Pretty obvious, I'd say. And let's go ahead and at least floor this up with wood so that we get the cleanliness research benefit. Now, one of the requirements of the bedrooms that we're going to have is cloth. So that's another kicker, is we're going to need to rummage up some farmers. So at this point, it would be just about time to call in the laborer team, but I'm just about out of time. Thank you for tuning in to episode 41 of the Archotechs, the first Archonexus. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you want to watch that full tutorial about the Archonexus, just go to my YouTube channel, or the link can be found in the description of this video. Thank you so very much to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel, and I hope that you tune in next episode. Farewell, fellow Archotechs, and good luck out there.